Well, welcome to another episode of Menus and More. I'm Chaplain Mel Saylor with Stein Hospice, and it is almost Christmas. Today, I'm going to talk about handling Christmas. And this year just presents so many more challenges to us. Christmas is a difficult time of the year for many, many people, especially if you've lost a loved one recently, or in many cases, many years ago. The Christmas holiday can bring up so many wonderful memories, some memories that aren't so wonderful, and yet it's the most wonderful time of the year to spread holiday cheer. And this year, with COVID, we've been presented with new challenges. So today I'm in my kitchen, but it's not just my kitchen. I am the fifth generation to live in this house, and the kitchen looks very similar to how my great-grandmother left it in 1970. My grandparents lived here their whole married life, so all of our Christmases were had in that room next door with my aunts and uncles, my cousins, my great aunts and uncles, and those are great memories of Grandma playing the piano and us singing and eating some great food. But I want to talk about, for those that are really struggling maybe this holiday season with traditions. I know for me, putting up my Christmas tree, there are songs that, as I was putting up the tree, and many of the ornaments belong to my great-grandmother, my grandparents, my parents, and if the wrong song's playing at the right time, the flood of emotions that follow as I continue decorating the tree, complicated by doing it alone this year. Today we are featuring a cookie, and it's a cream wafer, and my mom used to make them as round. We used to call them button cookies. They look like an Oreo. And now you do them in the shape of a fleur-de-lis, and they look like a reverse Oreo because they're sort of white on the outside and different colored frosting in the middle. So the recipe will be shared at the end of the video for the cookie and the frosting, but I always tell people the cookies are a lot of work, and so if you want to cheat, you can always go buy Betty Crocker frosting and add your own color. I did mine in red and green. Mom's used to be more pink and lime green. I got a little carried away with the frosting, and my fingers a minute ago were green. But the cookies are actually very basic in their ingredient. They have 1 cup margarine, 1/3 cup whipping cream, heavy whipping cream, and 2 cups of flour, and you roll it out like you would a pie crust. And you can use any kind of a cookie cutter. I use a little round one, which I just washed it. But this one I found in my grandma's cookie cutter. It actually, you could make a donut shaped cookie, and there's a little round cookie cutter. They're small, they're tedious, but you don't cook them for that long. You really just about 7 minutes. You don't want them to get brown. You want them to just puff up, and they are ready. You let them cool, and you frost them. So they look like this, and it takes 2 cookies to make 1 cookie. I think of my mother making these with 7 kids, 9 people in the house, and you can pop these like a lemon drop, and they melt in your mouth because they're almost all butter, the frosting included. But the frosting just takes 3/4 of a cup of powdered sugar, a quarter cup of butter. I melted mine just a little. just to get the frosting, the butter, so that it was pliable. I have some good Christmas water cheer. The frosting is not a very heavy frosting if you choose to make it. And it takes 2 tablespoons of milk. If it seems a little too runny, you can just add a little more powdered sugar and to get it to the consistency that you want. I spread mine not with a knife, I spread mine with a spoon because it's easier to get the frosting on the spoon. Just put a little bit on it, you take the other cookie, and you have a wafer. So I'll wait till the end to eat that because I need to keep talking. Christmas cookies are a family tradition that many of you have, and if you are recently bereaved and the person that you made those cookies with is no longer with you, this might be a year to try a new recipe sort of like this to keep the tradition going, but just mix it up a little. With the holidays coming and families not getting together so much, you could just bake some cookies and deliver them on a plate to your family. And I'm going to share with you another tradition that got started very accidentally. I had a neighbor called Marty. She lived across the road from my grandparents. She was like another grandparent, another aunt, another mother. Not that I needed another mother. My mother is still with me. She actually made the cookies today. I cheated, and I am spoiled. But when my neighbor lady passed, her family asked me what I wanted of hers, and they asked me to come to the house the day of the funeral. And I went over and I said, there's really nothing. I said, I have so many great memories. Your mom and I exchanged Christmas gifts throughout her whole life. And I said, I have so many memories of your mom. And they kept pushing me, and I did come up with a couple of things. But the first thing I said was, I'd like one of your mom's recipes. Her writing was beautiful. And I said, I would like a recipe. Pick something that she never made for you. I don't have to take a family favorite recipe. I just wanted a recipe card in her handwriting. So they did better than that. They photocopied probably 25 of her favorite recipes and gave them to me on copy paper. I was so excited to get this many of them. So I decided to take it a step further, and I made a recipe book. It has her picture on the front, and it just says recipes from Marty's kitchen to yours. And many of them are Christmas, and they are just photocopies of her recipes in her handwriting. Many things that many people in my family came to cherish and love throughout the years. Well, that led me to another idea. My mom is a great baker, and I wanted to do sort of the same for her. So I gave her 25 recipe cards, and I said, Mom, I want you to write these 15 recipes down in a recipe card. And so I took them. I went to Dollar General or any dollar store. You can buy these photo albums for like $1. And so I bought a bunch of them, and then I photocopied them all in color and cut them all up and made a recipe book of my mom's 25 most loved recipes and put them, there's pictures of her in her kitchen through the years, and it was a family treasure. The Christmas I gave them to my family, I gave them to my siblings and to my married nieces and nephews. Later that day, as my oldest sister was leaving my mom's, her son, who was a college student who didn't get one, she said, did you get everything you wanted for Christmas? And he said, no, I wanted one of those recipe books that Uncle Mel gave everybody. So my sister called me and she said, would you make one for him? So I ended up making them for everybody. I have less than $4 in each of them, but the treasure of that gift. So this year, since you may not be able to have your family together for the holidays, I would suggest you just take some of your recipes. Some of them may already be written down. Write them down in a recipe. Dollar General and the dollar store both have recipe cards only at this time of year. Write them out, copy them, and put them in an album like that and give them to your kids to have that in your handwriting. Or you may, in your recipe book, I have one over here that has many from my grandma and my great-grandma in them. Copy those too and make a family recipe book for your family to treasure through the years. Coping with bereavement at the holidays is and can be difficult, especially with the challenges we've had this year. It's time to start a new tradition. Pull out an old one that you haven't done for years. There may be things that you need to avoid, like me, as certain songs just sent me over the edge into tears, especially Silent Night. But at the end of the video, Shelby's going to share the recipes for the wafers. She is going to share you the link that if you would like to donate to our bereavement program, just go to the Menus for More link at www.steinhospice.org, and you can find the link to Menus and More. The recipes will be there. The links are also on that website for our many bereavement programs that we have that are available, many of them by Zoom, all by Zoom now. But if you have recently lost a loved one through Stein Hospice in the last 13 months, you are able for some one-on-one, but our groups are open to many people. So if you're struggling this holiday season, feel free to just go to that website or call 1-800-625-5269 to find out more information about our bereavement programs. I do wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. A Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, or Happy Holidays. What we need in this world right now is just a little bit of peace. So may you find your place of peace, and may that place of peace be something as simple as my great-grandma's old cookie jar, or my grandma's old mixing bowl, or when you make these cookies, you use a granny fork to prick them. This thing is so old, it's not funny. But throughout my house are many, many treasures that I get to experience and touch every day. Grief is something that never goes away, it changes. And now when I see this fork, I stabbed myself with it one day, and I thought, I wonder how many times Great-Grandma Sailor stabbed herself when she was doing something and not paying attention like I was. But I wish you the best. Stay on, and Shelby's going to join us and share with you how you can contribute to our bereavement programs so that we can keep them available to as many people as possible. Take care. Menus for More. Until we meet again.